Jumping into the number 5 spot of the best wireless gaming headsets is the Razer BlackShark V2 PRO, coming in at a price tag of $199.99. If at any point during the video you want to check out any of the 5 headsets in this video, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. But let's talk about the BlackShark V2 PRO. Now, this is the 2023 model with the, well, it upgraded a few things. We'll talk about that, but let's get into it. The build quality on the BlackShark V2 Pros is that helicopter headset design. And by that, I mean it's literally like the design is modeled after a helicopter pilot's headset or co-pilots. You got that stitched leather on the top band with a metal wire style adjustment headband. People have talked about the headband not working a lot. Both my BlackShark V2 Pros as well as my BlackShark non-Pros are fine. There's no problems with them or the adjustments being loose. So that might have been a quality control problem a while ago, but it seems like since I have a lot of these and they don't have problems, that's probably not a big issue anymore. Then for the top band padding as well as the earmuffs, you have a very soft fabric, which is really nice. It's also plush. Besides that, it's pretty minimalistic, but a very good looking headset overall. The mic arm is also detachable and it stays exactly where you put it, which is great if you are not into those floppy microphones, which I am not, so I love that. For the controls, on the left side, you have a mic mute button, power button, USB Type-C for charging, the plug for the detachable mic, and on the outside of that left ear cup, there is a volume knob with a slight tactile bump to it when you do adjust it. That knob, super nice, always easy to find exactly where it is because obviously it sticks out so far. So I like that a lot. Then on the right side, you have a button to toggle between different EQ presets, as well as switch between Bluetooth and the 2.4 gigahertz USB dongle. But let's talk about the sound quality. The sound quality on the BlackShark V2 Pros is great in game. It's quite easy to hear where the enemies are coming from, just spatially. The mids and trebles are very nice and clear. However, the bass is definitely lacking on these. Now, while these are still really enjoyable to listen to music with, as well as game with, they don't have super rich, deep bass that some of the others on the list do have. Now, keep in mind, you can adjust this with the EQ and everything like that, but still, I would like a little bit deeper, better low-end frequency response here. However, these are still the best of the best on the top 5 list. It's still quite good. And it has one thing that sets it apart from, well, all of the others and does it better than all of the others on the list, even though it's in the number 5 spot. Talking connectivity, this has Bluetooth as well as being wireless with that 2.4 gigahertz USB dongle. If you want the best and lowest latency possible, you're gonna wanna use that 2.4 gigahertz USB dongle as well as, well, it's just a lot easier than Bluetooth. Now, the cool thing is it will actually stay connected to Bluetooth when using the dongle. So you can easily switch between Bluetooth and the dongle, whether that's listening to music on your phone and then going to your PC, whatever you want to do. So that's a nice thing. However, they cannot be used simultaneously. Now, as for battery life, this is advertised around 70 hours, which is, yeah, pretty accurate. That's about what we got. As for comfort, these fit around my neck and ears very, very nicely. They don't feel like they press too hard against my head, and both the top band as well as the earmuffs are very, very plush. So the overall comfort here is great for longer gaming sessions. Even with glasses, I did test all of the headsets, both with contacts and glasses, and even with glasses, which is usually gonna push a little bit harder against your head, it was still great. So the comfort is really good here. But the thing that sets this headset apart from all the others is the mic. That is the biggest pro of this headset for sure. This is the single best microphone that I have ever used on any headset, and it will probably stay that way for some time. Quite literally, if you are doing some YouTube commentary or anything like that that needs a microphone, this microphone is literally good enough to do those things. But don't take my word for it. Take a listen to the BlackShark V2 Pro's microphone. Take a listen.
This is the mic test for the Razer BlackShark V2 Pros. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3.
And that is how it sounds. Pretty shocking. That's pretty amazing. Now, as for compatibility, this is compatible with PC, Mac, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch when docked, and then iOS and Android with Bluetooth. But with that, let's move on to the number 4 spot, which is the SteelSeries Arctis Nova 7s, coming in at a price tag of $179.99. This is one that kind of surprised me, honestly, but yeah, it's a great headset. Build quality here gets a little unique, having a steel top band, and not like just having steel in the top band. The top of the band, well, it is like a steel plate that they bent over, so pretty cool. This makes it very strong, but not super flexible, although in most situations that shouldn't be an issue at all. Besides that, it's pretty much standard SteelSeries here, having their very tight, like adjustable headbands. Not a bad thing, but where you adjust it. It's very tight and it works well. There's no clicking or tactility between it. It's just a taut pull out, push in. So it's nice to get a specific adjustment. You then have an integrated microphone, which can be pulled out, which looks awesome. It even has some of these little SteelSeries plastic logos that can be popped off and customized. Or you can, I think you can get other ones that are like a different vibe and then just magnetically snap them back on. Or you could take these off, paint them, and put them back on. A pretty cool way to customize your headset. Now, for the controls, on the left side, you have a mic mute button, a volume wheel, and then a 3.5mm jack. Then on your right side, there's a Bluetooth pairing button, power button, then a chat mix tune to change the ratio from the game or your PC or music to your voice sound, if that makes sense, which it should. And then lastly, you have a USB Type-C for charging. Now the sound quality here is really quite impressive. Out of the box, the EQ is tuned pretty much perfectly for this headset. The mids and trebles are crisp but not overbearing, and the low frequency response is good, making for a deeper, richer bass. However, some may still want more bass, but again, for the price, I'm really impressed with the sound quality here. Spatial awareness in game is great, and while music is also very enjoyable to listen to, some of the others on the list do it really, really well, but this, like overall, the Arctis Nova 7s are just a really good all-around headset. Now, as for connectivity, this has Bluetooth, a 2.4 GHz USB dongle, as well as a wired connection with a 3.5mm cable. Now, you can use Bluetooth and the dongle simultaneously, which is awesome. So if you want to listen to music as well as game or whatever you want to do, but have one of those on your phone or whatever else, that's really, really cool. Now, as far as battery life, it is pretty consistent with its claimed 38 hours, getting around 36 to 38 hours here. This is very good, but you take quite a hit when compared to the Razer, which has, well, almost double the amount of battery life. However, in my personal experience, once you're hitting over the 30s, it's not too big of a deal. Sometimes it can be a huge luxury to have a really long battery life, but it's really when you get sub 10 hours that it gets to be a problem in my personal experience. All right, now comfort on the Arctis Nova 7s is good, but it is my least favorite on the list. So there are no real deal breakers, and it for sure is not an uncomfortable headset at all, but it is my least favorite in terms of comfort on the list. I really like the elastic adjustable top band, and the earmuffs are nice and plush. However, the bottom of the earmuffs don't quite fully sit on my skull. This puts a little more pressure on the top half of the earmuffs, and while this isn't uncomfortable, it's just not as good as others on the list, which really didn't have any problems with comfort at all. Now again, this is gonna depend on your head shape, but if you're worried about like plushness and things like that, you shouldn't be, because that part of the Arctis Nova 7's very, very good, very comfortable. Now, mic quality here is pretty much exactly what you would expect. It's in line with other headsets on the list, but doesn't even come close to comparing to the BlackShark V2 Pros. But don't take my word for it. Take a listen to the Arctis Nova 7's. Take a listen.
This is the mic test for the SteelSeries Arctis Nova 7s. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3.
And that is how it sounds. But compatibility, this is compatible with PC, Mac, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch when docked, and iOS and Android with Bluetooth or that 3.5mm cable. But with that, let's move on to the number 3 spot, which is the HyperX Cloud Alpha Wireless, coming in at a price tag of $199.99. Build quality here on the HyperX Cloud Alphas is honestly just okay. While this definitely feels sturdy and it's going to last a long time, it doesn't really look or feel in hand as good as all of the others on the list and in this price range. I mean, we are in the upper echelon of gaming headsets in terms of your price point. All the others on the list look pretty dang special. These look like they have a few more holes in the metal bands and a little bit more stitching on the top, but besides that, it just looks like your typical HyperX headset. That being said, these are really good in the places that matter. So the leather on the top band and the earmuffs especially are really, really soft and supple. The mic arm stays exactly where it's supposed to stay, and it has a little LED indicator when it is muted, which is nice. Now, for the controls, on the left side, there is a power button, mic mute button, USB Type-C for charging, and then a detachable mic. Then on the right, there is a volume wheel. Now, you might be turned off by, well, it doesn't look super expensive or anything like that, but in the places that it matters, it absolutely brings it. Sound quality is where these excel over the previous two. While the Razer and the SteelSeries sound great in game and pretty good with music, these give a lot more punch to the lower frequency responses, giving you more full sound in game as well as with music. The HyperX here gives you a more of an emotional soundscape, especially in music. So if that's something that you're prioritizing, this may be something to consider when looking at the previous two. Now, as for connectivity, this is only wireless with a 2.4 gigahertz USB dongle. And one of the biggest sections is so you have really good sound quality. Battery life, it just crushes here. This has a claimed 300 hours of usage. That is a lot of battery life, and it's pretty dang accurate. That's what's insane. So this has a massive battery inside of it. So literally you're going to go like over a month a lot of times without charging it, which is insane. If you use your headset 10 hours a day, that's over a month. That's ridiculous. So that's a huge, huge pro. But let's talk comfort now. Comfort's actually really good. This is actually the second most comfortable headset on the list. They sit exactly how a headset should sit on the head. My ears sit inside of the muffs, and the muffs are plush and fully contact my skull evenly, and that distributes the weight and the pressure against my head basically perfectly here. Long gaming sessions are no problem and won't cause any fatigue even with glasses. These are great. So the comfort is not a problem. The sound quality is great and the battery life is stupid good. That's why these make it into the number 3 spot. I mean, it just does a lot really well, even if it doesn't look really nice, to be honest with you. But that's all subjective. But how is the mic? Now the mic is pretty much exactly what you'd expect. It's good, but again, cannot compare to the BlackShark V2 Pro. But take a listen for yourself to the HyperX Cloud Alpha Wireless. Take a listen.
This is the mic test for the HyperX Cloud Alpha Wireless. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3.
And that is how it sounds. Compatibility. This is compatible with PC, Mac, and PlayStation. But with that, let's move on to the number 2 spot, which is the Logitech G Astro A30 LIGHTSPEED, coming in at a price tag of $229.99. Build quality here is absolutely awesome. The material choices feel extremely premium. The top band is plastic, but when you touch it, it's kind of a rubbery feeling plastic. Feels very expensive. You then have a very smooth, non-tactile adjustable headband, similar to like the SteelSeries where there's no notches, it's just a pull out, push in. The left and right sides have this awesome oil slick look to them with these translucent magnetic covers on them, which it just looks absolutely insane. Now, those little covers are removable, so you can take them off. I'm not sure if it's meant to be taken off and then looked at like that or what, but it looks awesome in both the off or on ways. It's a very unique looking headset, and it's definitely an attention grabber. You feel like you paid for something expensive here. That's what I like over the HyperX. Now, the leather earmuffs feel really soft and are very high quality. Overall, I'm very impressed with the build quality. The only thing that I would say is the top band could have had a little bit more padding, but it's still very, very comfortable after a long gaming session. So, you know, it's not really a con. As for controls, on the left side, there is a mic mute switch, a 3.5mm jack, and then a detachable mic. Then on the right side, there is a power button, Bluetooth pairing button, and a joystick for adjusting volume by moving it up and down, or adjusting the gain and voice balance, or adjusting the ratio of Bluetooth with your 2.4 gigahertz USB dongle by moving it left or right, and also controlling Bluetooth playback. So there is a lot that you can do with that joystick depending on how you're using the headset, if that makes sense. So it can be a little bit confusing, but it is pretty intuitive to get used to once you use it for a little bit. But it's kind of cool that it has that. So it uses a joystick instead of your traditional like buttons. Then below that is a USB Type-C for charging. But let's talk about the most important section, sound quality. Now on the Astro A30s, it is pretty exquisite for being a wireless headset. Fantastic for both listening to music and playing games. Spatial awareness is also great for those that play FPS games with a very balanced sound profile without lacking clarity or bass here. Overall, the sound quality is really, really good here. I don't think it's quite as good as the number 1 spot, but it's definitely a step above the HyperX. It's really getting to that quite exquisite territory. The EQ tuning here is also very, very good out of the box. You're not going to feel the need to really fine tune and adjust your EQ. While you can, you probably won't feel the need like I didn't. Out of the box, these sounded great with music and games. And that just matches the exterior of this headset, which is very, very refined and beautiful. So they just did a really good job overall. Now, for connectivity, this has Bluetooth, wired with a 3.5mm cable, or wireless with that 2.4 gigahertz USB dongle. 3 devices can be connected simultaneously. So audio from the Bluetooth, the dongle, and the wired connection can all be heard at the same time, which is a very, very cool feature. Maybe you won't use it with all 3 devices connected, but it's just a cool thing to have, I think. As for battery life, they claim 27 hours, but I was actually getting closer to 40 hours. So go figure. But yeah, pretty good battery life. Now, comfort here is not as good as the HyperX Cloud Alphas, but it is still a very comfortable headset. While the earmuffs are pretty plush, the top band could use a little bit more padding as it's a little stiff. However, using this for longer periods of time, gaming for long gaming sessions, fatigue does not set on as quickly as you might expect after putting the headset on. So a lot of the comfort here is coming from placement, how it's hitting your skull. So they did a really good job. The earmuffs are plush. They don't press too hard against your head. Really no problems. And the feeling of the material against your head, it just feels a little bit more premium, more like a luxury car. Now, as far as the mic, the main mic arm is detachable, and it's a little bit hard to get in a specific position. It's kind of flop city here. And additionally to that, I will say this should have been shipped with like a pop filter or a cover, because you'll hear with the mic test, but yeah. Now, this does also have an internal mic, so if you do want to detach the mic, it will automatically switch to that other mic, but you're not gonna have the same quality. So take a listen to the mic tests.
This is the mic test for the Astro A30s with the boom arm. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. Now this is the mic test with the Astro A30s, but now the non-boom microphone. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3.
And that is how it sounds. Now for compatibility, this is compatible with PC, Mac, Xbox, Nintendo Switch when docked with the dongle, Android and iOS with Bluetooth, and PlayStation with the wired connection. There's also a wireless PlayStation version of this, but well, there you go. But with that, let's move on to the number 1 best wireless gaming headset. This is the Logitech G Pro X2, coming in at a price tag of $249.99. Build quality here is fantastic. Logitech did a great job in not only making this highly usable, comfortable, but also feel like a very premium luxury gaming product. There is this extremely expensive looking stitching on the top band, similar to a luxury car's steering wheel. The adjustable metal bands are super, super thick, and that continues on to the holding of the ear cups into place. So that thick metal, kind of that U-shaped metal, is quite thick. It's thicker than your standard metal, like on the HyperX Cloud Alphas. That was a little bit of a thinner metal. This is nice, thick, and beefy. It's just nice to see. You also then have a thicker, slightly coiled cable on the left and right, which looks great and seems very robust for long-term durability. You then have these machined metal-looking Logitech logos on the left and right, which look great. And in the box, you also get some extra cloth ear pads if you don't want the leather ones, which I actually prefer the leather ones, and they look great. But if you do want some kind of like a velvety texture, it's nice. Now for controls, on the right side, there is a power on and off switch. That's a big deal because all of the rest of these had like a hold to turn off, hold to turn on. I don't like that. I've gotten used to it because most wireless headsets have that. This is a literal toggle switch. So click on, click off, so good. Big, big, big usability for daily life. Like that is such a quality of life thing. Then you have a volume wheel, a mic mute button, a USB Type-C for charging, a Bluetooth pairing and mode switching button, and then you have your detachable mic. Then on the right side, there's a 3.5mm jack. Now, as for sound quality, well, these are the best on the list. They do a perfect job of balancing clear, crisp trebles, great mids, and awesome low frequency response. Listening to music sounds fantastic on these. Now, gaming is great. Not only does it give you the emotional side with deeper punchy bass, but you still get that competitive advantage having great spatial awareness. Footsteps are easily deciphered directionally in all of your FPS games like COD and Battlefield and all those. It is really, really enjoyable as well, that advantage. In a wireless headset, this is just about as good as you're going to get it, and I absolutely love it. This is my new main daily driver for a gaming headset. Now for connectivity, this is wireless with a 2.4 gigahertz USB dongle, Bluetooth, and a wired connection with that 3.5mm cable. Also, you cannot use Bluetooth and the 2.4 gigahertz USB connection simultaneously, but it is really easy to switch between them by pressing the Bluetooth button. But yeah, you can't listen to them simultaneously. A little bit of a con, but you'll have to decide if that's, well, a deal breaker for you or not. As for battery life, they claim about 50 hours, but after testing, this got closer to like 90 hours of battery life, which is like a lot. That's actually the second best on the list, just behind the HyperX. Well, like 200 hours behind the HyperX, but who's counting? Yeah, 90 hours is still really good. So these have a very, very solid long battery life. That's something that you're going to get when paying these higher prices for very premium headphones. But let's talk comfort. These are the most comfortable headset on the list. And then you pair that with a sound quality, it's really good. The top band is very, very plush. The earmuffs are super plush and sit perfectly on my skull. Because of this, I had zero fatigue after long gaming sessions, even when wearing glasses. Now, while these also look larger and, well, you're going to assume they're going to be heavier, they're not crazy heavy, which actually helps with that long-term comfort. Compare these to the Corsair Virtuosos, which I do really like those headphones, but they're so freaking heavy. And when comparing these to those, these are significantly lighter and just help with overall fatigue. These feel like a pillow against your head, like a nice leather pillow. I will say also, I prefer the leather earmuffs over the fabric ones, but you have both in the box, so you can choose what you want. Now, the mic quality is good, but again, still can't compare to the BlackShark V2 Pros, as Razer just did an amazing job with that mic, but take a listen for yourself to the Logitech G Pro X2 mic. Take a listen.
This is the mic test with the Logitech G Pro X2s. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3.
And that is how it sounds. For compatibility, it's compatible with PC, Mac, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch, iOS, Android with Bluetooth or the 3.5mm, and then you get also Xbox with that 3.5mm connection. But again, if you want to check out any of the 5 headsets in this video, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. The G Pro X2s just absolutely are like it. If I was gonna buy one headset, if I'm already gonna spend about $200, I would bump it up and spend $250 for those because they just do everything right. But there's 5 on the list. All 5 are great in their own ways. But yeah, if you have a smaller budget, obviously this is like the top end, the top range, the best you can get. If you are on kind of a budget, well, check this video out right there. And that's another countdown list that we did and compiled that's a little bit more budget friendly. But yeah, this is a consumer tech review and I'll see you guys in the next video.